I thought of that song, all of the singer brothers, all of the You know the song I'm talking about. Oh my God, I hit my tooth on this too. Okay, everybody, this is the international sign for a woman over 35. You know what I'm talking about. The men in the audience are like, unless you're married, maybe. But I don't get it. No one talks about the chin hair. Like, Gwyneth Paltrow hasn't written about it on Goop. You know, J-Lo isn't doing some sort of endorsement. I mean, I think what the problem with chin hair is that we need to, like, it's because it's just one or two. You know, when you see a woman who's got that one, and you're like, oh my God, let me get those. Let me get that. And I think if it was a whole patch, it'd be like a little jaunty goatee, and we'd rock it. You know what I mean? With like a little like singlet on More magazine, and be like. You know, I think we need to own it, ladies, because between plugging my chin hairs and Facebook, I'm not getting anything done. Seriously. For those of you who don't know, my dad is Tommy Chong of Cheech and Chong. Woo! Yeah! Woo! 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 And it was his birthday on Thursday. He turned 74. I know. We're old. Woo! We're old! Tommy Chong 74. He looks great though. Anyways, so I tried, because he's in LA, and I tried to like call him on his cell phone. And he's crazy about his cell phone because he's always like, oh, I need to charge my cell phone, I need to charge it. But he never answers it because he can never hear it or find it. So I call his cell phone and there's no message set up. So I can't even leave a message. So I text my dad, happy birthday, Dad, love Precious and Jack, my son. And then he texts me back, like. And I'm like, oh, you're so cool, like. I'm like, Dad, it's texting, not Facebook, whatever. Anyways, people are always like, what is it like to have Tommy Chong as a dad? And I want to be like, it's amazing, we get high every day. I mean, I don't, but he does. But I was the black sheep of the family. I didn't smoke pot. I didn't drop acid. I went to university. I know. But the weirdest story about my dad is I was doing a play and I went to get a coffee across the street. And the man was in front of me was talking to the cashier and he says, hey, did you know that Tommy Chong's daughter is doing a play across the street? And he's like, oh, I didn't know that. What's he doing now anyway? Oh, he died. Yeah, it was a really long illness and he died. And I'm like, excuse me, Tommy Chong is my dad and he's not dead. He's in jail. Yeah. So when my dad was in jail, he would set me up with the guys he met in prison. And seriously, give me my home address. I wish that was a joke, but it was actually true. But there was one guy who I thought was kind of cute. And he was doing time for selling prescriptions. My mom's like, he's a doctor. And so my dad goes up to him and he goes, oh, I'm sorry, Tommy, I'm gay. So that was, I haven't had much luck with relationships. But I do have a little boy. And I know, he's 7. And his dad and I aren't together anymore, but it's very copacetic, very co-parent, very, modern. And, but sometimes I have a hard time being a normal parent because I had a strange childhood. For instance, Jack came home recently and he goes, Mommy, Michael's not allowed to play at our house anymore because you let us watch Tremors on Netflix. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, my parents dropped acid and took me to see Thumbelina when I was 3. I just don't have perspective. And I'm a little bit permissive. I mean, Jack, he's 7, he's very intelligent, and he's really, he's good in school, and he listens. But with me, he's a little, I let it all hang out a little. He knows his swear words, and he likes to practice them. So we were getting ready for a bath, and he was getting undressed, and he goes, and I heard him mutter, you little bitch. And I thought he was saying, you little bitch. And then I realized he was doing this, and he was talking about his penis. He was going, you little bitch. recently, and it was just before first grade, and he and it came with an baby, but he goes, "Mommy, I want to call the kitty Pussy." And I'm like, "Okay, Jack," because I'm not going to put my stuff onto him. I'm like, "Well, we can call the kitty Pussy." So that night he's like, "Oh, Mommy, look at I'm petting Pussy," or "Mommy, hold Pussy on your lap." And I was like, "Okay, I can't do this." So I said, "Jack, sometimes people call a woman's privates pussy." And then I just saw the innocence leave my son's face, and he was smirking. But it's ironic that he wanted to call the cat Pussy because the cat is such a dick. He is always humping me, always. I got him fixed, and then he's still doing it, that thing, you know? The first they come over and they start with that kneading thing. And then he's looking me right in the eye, and then he does that like fast pulse, and looks at me with no expression, like an Eastern European man making love. Oh God. So I've been thinking, Jack was homesick recently, and it reminded me of when he was really little, and when they're like 2 and 3, and they're just with you all the time. And it's kind of like having an out-of-town guest for like 2 years. You have to drive them around and feed them, let them suck on your boobs every couple of hours. It's very similar. But recently, the other day, makes me sound like a terrible parent, but whatever, let's go there. I had a clumsy day. I was a bit off, and I picked up Jack from school, and I went to TV Canada Dress to get my money. Totally irrelevant to the joke, but why not? Let's make it real. And I was opening the door, and I accidentally elbowed Jack in the face. Like, I'm just clumsy, and I hit him hard. And this is as we're going in the door, and then he goes to my mouth. He punches me in the face, but not hard, but like he gestured and like meant it. And this woman was walking out as we were walking in and saw the whole thing. And me and Jack both saw her, saw us, and we were both caught like an abusive relationship. Like there was shame, and we were both like, I'm sorry to each other. So, it's weird, but recently, it was Jack's birthday, and he had a Mario party. He's obsessed with video games. He called me Mario by mistake recently. But it reminded me of when I used to do kids' parties. I did when I was in my 20s, and like Little Mermaid, Belle, because I'm old, and I played this clown character once, and I hated the clown because it was like the tackiest jumpsuit and like big purple afro. And this party went particularly well, and it was in a park, a public park, and all the kids after the party followed me back to my car, and I was like the Pied Piper. I was like, I'm good at this, I'm special, I'm really sharing my gifts with these children. And I walked under a tree, and my wig got caught on the branch, and I kept walking without realizing it, and it pulled it off my head, and all the kids stopped, and they stared at me. And then the oldest one points at me and goes, "Bye, fake clown! Bye, fake clown!" And I went, "Bye, stupid kids who think clowns are real." Thanks, I'm precious.